So let's go into the ultimate comparison between the Sony CyberShot James Bond camera, which is the 6th version of the RX100. And of course, we're going to have this one to solve as something to compare this to. This is the other James Bond camera. This is one of the original ones, one of my favorite ones as well. Stealth, very nice. And I don't know if you ever seen the movie with the dinosaurs in King Kong or something. This is the camera they were actually using to take pictures, or at least it looked exactly like it. So that's why I got this one. It's not the stealthiest version because it is silver. Except for that, this is a very nice camera. So this one is the PowerShot and G9X Mark II. And this is just to compare the sizes between them in case you want to know, especially since we're talking about how much this one is not so great. So the first thing that we want to talk about here, why I dislike this camera, is the following. When you turn this on, the touchscreen is only good for focusing on the image. And I think inside you can do it so when you press on it, it takes a picture. Other than that, you can't do this, which is swipe and move or zoom in. And this is something even the easiest and not even the newest Canon cameras can actually do. So when you turn this one on and you have an image in the back, you can just super zoom in and inspect the image for any imperfection in it. Like right here you can see it. Another thing that this is so good at is you can swipe, just like that. You can move from one image to another. And you can't do this on a Sony. So this is the #1 reason, one of the worst reasons, that you shouldn't really own this Sony camera just because of its touchscreen capabilities, which is just new for this camera, but it's not really worth the money for it. The second reason is actually the good one, but why you shouldn't own this camera is actually the zoom. Although it has a very good zoom and it will give you a very good ability to get where you want, this is actually a bad thing about this camera. And here is why. With a very good zoom such as this, it only gives you 2.8 to 4.5. And the previous camera gave you 1.8 in terms of light capacity. This Canon, which doesn't have a super zoom, gives you 2.0, which gives you better low light capabilities than the Sony. So now let's get to the third reason why this camera is not so great. And it is overpriced for what it is. You're paying extra just to get this inside of here, which is this miniature looking viewfinder. And here is the other reason that why I don't like it. If you put your eye right here, the screen just goes blank, which is okay, but sometimes you want to have both of them on at the same time, and you can't actually do that. So that's the third reason why I dislike this camera. Next reason, #4, is the small flash that we get for the price that we paid for this camera. Now, I paid 3 times less for this one, and I'm getting a bigger flash right here. It is better constructed, and it is better protected right inside. This one is so flimsy. It will easily break someday. I really can feel it. Look at this, it goes all the way down. It doesn't feel as good as the other camera. And the other camera is 3 times cheaper than this one. Sony, what were you thinking? Reason #5 why this camera is not so great is the following. The menu. The menu is just terrible. Everything about this is designed in the worst possible way. For you to find any specific function in here, it is buried deep inside this menu. And it's not easy for you to find what you need in here. There is just too much things here. It is too complicated. Versus the Sony. Versus the Canon, I mean. The Canon is much easier to use. And the menu is much more simple. There's only 3 different menus here that you have to go through. One is the camera, one is configuration, and another one is the shortcut. It is more simple. There's not much choices for you to pick from, but it explains every single thing in here easily and fast as well. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out how to go and use the Canon. But you need to read a big manual in order to figure out how to use the Sony. Reason number 6, this is the reason why most people buy this camera. This is a video camera, not a picture camera. It is not made for real pictures. It is made to take videos with it. So most of the settings here cover the videos over here instead. Unfortunately, it is a lot more complicated. If you want to do a slow motion video, you have to go through this whole menu to figure out how to use it, everything else. Watch YouTube tutorials and so on. Reason number 7, and this one is quite complicated. Let's say you want to use and do a slow motion video. You have the record button right here in the back. This is, and it does this. You can't record from this setting. You have to go proceed with the movie button. Some really complicated things. I mean, why can't you just press on this button and let it record? There is no need for this at all. Now, when you press on this button right here, it is in standby mode. So you can film in slow motion if you want to. But here is what it actually does. And this is the number 1 and reason number 8 I dislike this camera. It actually films already. In standby mode, it's actually filming. And it's filming right now, whatever is in front of the camera. When you press on record, you are not recording. You're saving whatever was in there before that. This makes it super confusing. So for example, if you wanted to film this, it's already filming it. By pressing on this, you're just recording what was in there before. It is buffering into it. Unfortunately, you will get confused and you will think you're recording right now, but you are not recording. It is just saving. This is so complicated and unnecessary for this thing to work like this. This is so complicated and it makes it really hard for you to understand what you're doing with this camera. Reason number 9. This camera is just very sophisticated. But look at this. This is what's supposed to be the autofocus button right here. It is very loose. On the Canon, you can feel it when you're moving it. Which brings me to the next reason why this camera is just not so great. The reason number 9 is the controls themselves in this camera. When you want to press on the flash button right here, I'm talking about the button where you take a picture. It is recessed in all the way inside. On a Canon, it sticks out. You want to take a picture, you know which one is the picture, you press on it and it takes a picture. This one, you want to take a picture, you can accidentally press on the on and off button and turn it off, because you really don't know by feeling it which one is the on, which one is the off button right here, and which one is the one where you take a picture. It's not so obvious. How many times you're going to be making this unfortunate mistake? Instead of taking the picture, you press on the off button. Sony, what were you thinking? Look at this here. You can clearly tell which is the off button, which one is to take a picture. Unfortunately, this specific Canon made the colossal mistake of having 2 different buttons that work almost the same as an on and off button right next to each other. To top it off, it has the sound sensor right here on the top. What were you thinking about, Canon? That is just plain dumb. Sony itself has 2 mics just right here. This is maybe the last reason why this camera just is not made for it. Reason number 10. You can easily turn off the right or left sound by pressing on your finger, accidentally being right on it, and the sound is just not going to be picking up. And to add to insult, it doesn't even have external mic to this at all. So the sound quality is always going to be substandard in this camera because you can't add external sound to this. For this price, I expected it to have some ability for you to add external sound or external mic to this. It doesn't have it. And reason number 11, and of course, just in case I just wanted to give you one more reason. To charge it up, it is the most annoying thing. You gotta open one of those holes, and they look almost the same, both of those. So sometimes you'll be sticking it in the wrong hole too. You have to stick it in the right hole to charge it up, and it's gonna charge it without the need of a charger, which is the only good thing, that you don't need a charger. Unfortunately, the cable itself is very confusing. Which one is the charger, which one is not, and it doesn't even say which one is the charger here. It says HDMI, it says multi. HDMI is actually the charger, but you won't know it from here. What makes it even more complicated is that when you charge up the battery, you can only charge it using this thing specifically here. The other thing that you can do is just simply buy a specific charger for this camera. That's an extra fee that you have to put on top when you buy this specific camera. It doesn't come in the box. It should come in a box. There should be a wall charger that you can just take this battery out and put it inside the wall charger and take it out every single time. Because if this port breaks right now, it makes it so much harder for you to charge something, especially when you're on vacation. Or if you lose this cable, it's much easier to lose a small cable than it is to lose an actual wall charger. What were you thinking, Sony? So with that said, those are the top 10 plus one bonus reason why this camera is just gonna go back to the store, and I'm just gonna go and look for another perfect camera. This camera is not great for those specific reasons. This camera is awesome just because it is so small and you can go and spy on people from far away, especially if you want to get those very up close and personal beach shots of people on vacation. Other than that, this camera has no real specific use. Well, if you're going to a vacation or a zoo or a place that you need to really zoom in, then this camera is for you. For getting amazing close-up pictures, you still need a second camera. And because of that, I cannot recommend this camera for everybody. There's too many reasons why. And the biggest one of all, the price point. Oh, $1,200 just to get your hands on this camera is just way too much for what it is. You can buy a bunch of very capable equipment, and you can buy a lot of it for this price. And it makes me think twice about owning and having this camera. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave your thoughts right below in the comment section. Leave your thoughts right below in the comment section, and see you in the next video. If you enjoyed my channel, please make sure to subscribe to it.